When he was a medical student, he was considerably older than I. He was 27 years older. And he was in medical school back in the 50s. And he was on track for a regular medical career. He was in a very serious radiation accident as a resident. He was the resident in charge of the X-ray department. They had a very bulky X-ray machine. In those days, it was all hand-me-down equipment. They were working in a charity clinic, a Salvation Army clinic. He went in to find out why it wasn't firing, only to find out that the light had burned out or was filtered, and he got about a 10-minute dose of radiation, which was considered lethal. His own colleagues said, "Get your affairs in order, there's nothing to be done." And so he wasn't willing to accept that, and he had studied in medical school a nutrition program, which was quite unusual in those days. But there was a protege of Adele Davis, if anyone's old enough to remember her, one of the pioneers in nutrition, and just on fire with the whole idea. And he called that into play, and he followed some of the advice he learned there about, the major damage was to his thyroid. So he went on as aggressive a program as he knew to do, saved his own life, and that set him on a path of alternative medicine all of his life. So he studied worldwide, had many degrees, many certifications in homeopathy, acupuncture, chiropractic, naturopathy, as well as medicine. So if it was of interest to him, he would pursue it to the ends of the world, literally. So one of his pursuits, we were in London. He was studying an advanced course in clinical nutrition, but he was sort of moonlighting with a friend who had an anti-aging treatment. His name was Peter Steffen, Dr. Peter Steffen. His father had been a contemporary of Paul Nahans, who was considered the father of clinical cell therapy. He was the first clinician to do it. He built on research that preceded him, but he was the first to use it on patients. And so Peter Steffen's dad, worked with Paul Nahans and was very enthusiastic about this therapy that my husband knew nothing about. So he spent his evenings interning with him, became very intrigued with it. The thing that was a little off-putting to him is it was extremely expensive, tens of thousands of dollars, and this was back in the late 70s, a lot of money. So the clientele were movie stars and very wealthy people, and it was just out of the reach of most people. So, he worked with him for a while. We toyed with the idea of opening a practice in Europe, but he really didn't have the academic background in it, he felt, and he always felt he needed that. So he enrolled at the University of Vienna, and that was the main place that all of the research was being done. The University of Vienna always has been. So he enrolled as an American medical student in their graduate program, and he spent on again, off again in 1983, 84, those years, at the University of Vienna, at which point he learned the actual pharmaceutical end of the business, not the trappings, not the lovely offices, not the limousines, not the, the hotel rooms and the private nursing staff. He learned the pharmaceutical end of it. And I remember distinctly the day he came home, he said, "This doesn't have to be tens of thousands of dollars. It's expensive, relatively speaking, but it could be within the reach of folks, of people, of average to a little bit above average income." So we opened small clinics. We opened a clinic in Nassau, Bahamas. In Nassau, of course, you fly directly to Nassau. You can stay at any hotel that you choose. The island is 21 miles by 7, so you can't wander too far. Our driver's happy to pick you up at your hotel and bring you to the clinic and return you to your hotel. So hopefully you can make a little vacation out of it. Other folks actually cruise down. And if they're in port for 4 to 5 hours, that's plenty of time. We pick them up at the dock, bring them to the clinic, and return them to the ship in plenty of time. In Matamoros, Mexico, which is our smallest office, this is one of our older offices. I technically moved it to Tijuana, but we have a lot of folks that had come to Matamoros for quite a number of years from Texas and some of the areas around there, and they like to be able to drive to it. Your destination for the Matamoros Clinic is Brownsville, Texas. You can either fly to Brownsville, and the hotel in Brownsville that we use will pick you up from the airport. We then provide your transportation to and from the hotel. Or, of course, you can drive down to the area if you're near there. In Tijuana, the location that your destination would be San Diego. And so if you fly in, which most of our folks do in that location, we pick you up at the airport and bring you directly to the clinic, which is in Tijuana, Mexico. If you are from the LA or California area, which a lot of our folks are, they will drive down, and in that case they park on the US side, and we provide their transportation to and from a convenient parking area. There's also trains. There's a number of ways to get there. But our clinic in Tijuana is actually on the lobby level of a lovely high-rise hotel. It's not what you're thinking in terms of Tijuana. It's really a very nice location. The folks that I have that have been to all three tend to prefer that one, and we'll start coming back to Tijuana more often. We're self-contained in the building, so you're never actually on the streets of Tijuana. We pick you up at the airport or the parking lot or however you come down to the train station. And you come to the clinic. If you're going to spend the night, which we all do, and of course a lot of our folks do that come from quite a distance, and some of them internationally, stay at the hotel, and our clinic is on the lobby level, so you're contained within the building. Wonderful restaurants, probably the best brunch you'll ever have. And then back to San Diego or wherever you need to be. So it's very safe, and you'd be surprised how very nice it is.